Today on the WTF Women Talk Finance podcast, we have Dr. Mathis-Coleman on the show. She's the Deputy Treasurer overseeing the College Savings Division for the State Treasurer's Office for the state of Nevada. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
I'm so excited to have you here. Full disclosure, I rang you up because I was so excited to have this topic on the show. This is one of the most important pieces of advice that I got as a new mom about how to save for college for my kids. And it's something that we're going to talk about a couple programs today, but this was something that I didn't even know to search for until somebody told me. And when I tell other people, they're blown away that there's options out there for parents to start planning for college the day their child is born. So I am super excited to have this talk. First of all, I want to say you earned your doctorate this year. Congratulations. We're so excited for you.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes, I earned my doctorate from UNLV in May. So it's very new. So if ever people are like, is Dr. Mathis-Coleman? I don't know who they're talking to or about. So you all can just call me Tia. But I'm very, very excited to be here because like you said, a lot of new moms don't have any idea or new dads, anybody has no idea what they need to do to prepare their students for college. So I will start by saying that although I really tell people to start early, it's never too late. So if you're listening to this podcast and you're like, oh, shoot, my kid's 5 or 6 or in middle school, it's okay. The things that we're going to talk about today are good for any age. And so I just think it's really important for parents to know that you don't have to do it when your child's 6 months old or 6 days old. You can just making sure that you're doing it before they get to high school seniors is what's most important.
From what I understand, Tia, you are overseeing the College Savings Division for the State Treasurer's Office. You're a deputy treasurer. Can you tell us about your role, about your work? Give us a little background and context, please, and kind of how you got involved in education and even learning yourself that this was a resource.
Absolutely. So I always tell people that I'm a proud product of the Clark County School District and the Nevada system of higher education. So I grew up here in Clark County, and I was raised by 2 educators. So education in my home was always the most important thing. So it didn't matter what you wanted to be. My parents believed in post-secondary education. And so as teachers, they started off as teachers and then worked their way up to administrators. Of course, we all know that they're not making a lot of money. So it was important that they saved. But what was most important for my family is the year that I graduated from high school, the state of Nevada developed the Governor Gwynn Millennium Scholarship. And so students were given $10,000 to stay in the state to go to school. And so I was the first graduating class that received that money. And I always tell people that the state invested in me. And it made all the difference for me. I stayed here in Nevada. I got my bachelor's, my master's, and eventually my doctorate degree in Nevada because Nevada invested in me. And I learned so much about post-secondary education and the challenges that students have on my career journey. So I've only been here with the state for almost 3 years, but before that, I worked for the university. I worked in helping students get to post-secondary education. I was in admissions for years at the University of Nevada, Reno. And then I worked most recently, before coming here, I was the director of recruitment for the Clark County School District. And in that role, I basically went around the country trying to convince people to move here to Clark County to be a teacher. And so the most important thing for me is education. And it doesn't matter if it's K-12 or post-secondary, it's important. And I feel like education opens the doors. And so I really just want to do my part to make sure that all students that are interested in going to college have the opportunity to go. So when I saw this role, I was actually with the Clark County School District. I was very happy. I was a new mom. And I always tell people one of the reasons I applied for this position is because being in recruitment is very long hours. So I would leave at night and I'd come back at night, and my baby, I was like, I'm never going to see her. And so I basically told my husband at the time, I want to find something where I can find more of a balance, but still really enjoy the work that I do. And so I feel like when I found this position with the treasurer's office, it was perfect because it was working with the Governor Gwynn Millennium Scholarship, which for me was a full circle moment because that was the reason I stayed in the state. And then in addition to working with that scholarship program, I also have the opportunity to work with all of our other college savings initiatives. So I get to work with our prepaid tuition ladies. I get to work with the College Kickstart group, which we can talk more about. But basically, all of our initiatives here in my office help families plan, save, and pay for post-secondary education. So for me, that's absolutely everything that I've ever wanted to do in my career.
I feel like the state got more than their money's worth with their investment in you. I mean, that's incredible. What you've given back to our community and to families in and outside of our community is amazing. So thank you for that. I think you mentioned it, but can you tell us what a 529 plan is? I think people may have heard of it, or they've heard college savings. Let's chat about what a 529 is.
So in our division, we do offer 529 options. And I always tell people the world of 529s can be a little daunting or scary, especially if you don't have a finance background. But basically, the best terms I tell people is it's a structured savings plan for your child's education. And so we save for everything. We save for houses. We save for cars. Why not start saving for our child? And so 529s come in two major forms. You can either do a savings or a prepaid. And so our office offers both. When I had my little one, I decided to do prepaid tuition. And Nevada is one of, I believe, 12 or 11 or 12 states that actually offers a prepaid tuition. And whenever people hear about it, they say, well, what if my son or daughter decides not to stay in Nevada? I think they get very stressed about the logistics. And I always tell people it doesn't matter where your child decides to go. Once they graduate, this money will follow them. If your child decides, I want to go to the University of Utah or I want to go to Alabama State, we have people we pay for students all across the country. And the best thing is you lock in, if your child decides to stay here in the state, you're basically locking in today's tuition for 18 years from now. So, when my daughter does decide to go, I don't have to pay the cost of college 18 years from now, which is a good feeling. And so I think people should just find out which plan or which option is best for them and their family. Because sometimes people are overwhelmed with life expenses. And so they're like, I'm struggling to pay for school or my student loans. I'm struggling to pay for the house, the car, the day-to-day of raising children. I don't have extra to put away. And so for families like that, I just always encourage them to come and sit down with someone because there is a plan for everyone. So you may not be saving $40,000 or $50,000, but even if you're able to put away $15,000 by the time they graduate or $10,000, every little bit will help. And so don't look at it as like this big, huge mountain that you're trying to climb, but just come and sit down with us and we'll help you get there.
That's incredible advice. And I did do the prepaid tuition for my kids, and just to give real numbers to this, I'll expose my real numbers. My daughter's 5. I started right after she was born. I did prepay for the Nevada 4-year plan. And again, she may choose not to go to Nevada. And I know kids who have chosen to go out of state and that money follows them. They're now, they're at Ohio State and they were able to still use that plan. It's $190 a month for me to pre-purchase my daughter's 4-year education in Nevada, which feels like a manageable number for something that felt like, ooh, this is a future me problem. Ooh. But it was a looming kind of scary big number and potentially huge number. And then I also chose to get the 529 because there's extra expenses of college, and even something as small as $50. I think I've got it set up for an automatic $50 a month. And I send it to the grandparents. They've got this great gift thing, which I love that. And I send it to the grandparents and aunts and uncles and things on birthdays, Christmas, and say, hey, instead of a gift this year, she's got too much stuff. Can we maybe take that money and contribute to college savings? So there's absolutely doable ways where you're not waiting till your kid's 18 and now you've got thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars due for them to stay at school.
Yes, I absolutely love that. I think it takes a village. So I love the idea of sending it to family members and friends. I'm absolutely there. My daughter has too much of everything. Like we have the same toys. So I take them to like my mother's house. I'm like, you have one here and one here. And so it's just like, it's definitely something that's better and a better investment if they're giving to your child's education. So in the state, we have a program that's called College Kickstart. So I like to share this with families because especially those families that feel like, hey, I didn't get started right away. Now they're getting to be older. College Kickstart is a program where the state gives $50 to each student when they're a kindergarten student in the state, any student in Nevada, $50 to kickstart their savings plan. And so what they do is we will sit down with the family and we'll say, okay, here's your $50. Now, where do you all want to start to invest it, or what 529 would you like? And it's just really great for a conversation starter. The most important thing I tell families all the time, I have families that accept this $50 and they never add to it. And so here in the state, it's like we are investing in your child and we really want you to add to it. Even if it's $25 a month or $25 every 3 months, whatever you can add, we are kickstarting your savings, but we don't want it to be the last time that you put into it. Because when your son or daughter graduates, we want you to have something. And so that's definitely a resource that we have for families, and not enough people accept it. And so I like to share that information. You get it when your son or daughter's in kindergarten and you get into their 5th grade. So you have 5 whole years that you can accept it. So please spread the word to accept your college Kickstart.
You're giving out money on the podcast. I mean, that's
Everyone
I
gets
love
$50.
it. Get $50.
One of our questions was going to be, 529 accounts. I don't know a lot about them, but if I understand right, the 529 refers to like an IRS code. It's a pre-tax deduction. It's an account built to take benefit of tax benefits. There are a lot of families out there that don't have a lot of extra money for any sort of investing. And I think 529s can still be really beneficial, especially in those cases where you want families to think about education early, think about it often. What advice would you give to those families that may feel that they're struggling to get by, and they may think, a special tax beneficial account isn't even in my purview. I can't make it happen. What kind of advice would you give to those families?
The most important thing I would say is to reach out to us and visit us, because there are things out there that people don't even know about. So there is one of the 529 accounts. It's called SSGA. They do a matching grant. So if you save this amount, they will match that amount each year. And so depending on what your annual income is. And so it's for families that may not have a lot of extra. And so by coming in and sitting down with the team, we can see, okay, this is how much you make every year. Well, these are the things that you will qualify for, or these are the 529 plans that we would recommend for you. And so I really tell people it's a case by case. When she was talking about her prepaid, when we had Hunter, my husband was like, I don't want to pay for Nevada prepaid because he's not from Nevada. And so he's like, she's going to leave and I don't want to waste this money. And so he got a 529. And so she has both. And so I think it's one of those things where I pay for the prepaid because I'm like, this is a great something that I can do each month. And I don't even have to think about it. It automatically comes out. And he does the 529. And so we're in the same house doing 2 separate savings. And so I think it's important for families to know that we can sit down with you individually, especially women, because we have other concerns. And I think sometimes like we let the husband or the man in our life kind of like navigate what we're doing or where the money is going. And so this is something that you can put aside a little bit separate from your husband or separate from your partner to make sure that you feel comfortable and something that you understand. And so I think just coming in, sitting down with one of our college navigators and just really talking about what options we have and what's best for you and your finances is what's most important.
I think the ownership of this and having, because I think it's something, especially uh, probably women more than men do worry about our kids. I know dads are worrying about their kids' future. My husband certainly, but he definitely didn't think to pull the trigger on these. There was, he would have been at 18 going, all right, well, I'm writing a big check this month for my daughter's education. And women tend to be very much planners, even almost 2 decades in advance. And those are the things that can also keep us up at night. So what a great thing to be able to have that comfort. It gives me huge comfort that my daughters have their education paid for. And the people I look up to, so much, especially in the financial space, are my aunt and uncle, and they did this for their son. And like I said, he did go out of state. They say to this day, this was, of all the investments they have made, this was the best investment they made, was doing this, the prepaid and college savings plan, because they couldn't have planned the 20 years what tuition did, which was absolutely wild. And I love that there's a plan for everybody. I love that you don't have to be meeting these financial marks to come in and sit down with you, because it feels unattainable a little bit, right? To save for college. And when you say something $25 even a quarter, that's something within reach.
Absolutely. Yes. There's definitely different levels, and we never want people to feel overwhelmed with it.
Every day you hear about people making money by investing in IPOs and startups. But what about you? These kinds of investments are simply not available to Main Street investors. At Rowe Capital Group, we are committed to providing access to strategic, early-stage, primarily low-market correlated investment opportunities. Accredited investors go to rowecapitalgroup.com for more information. Rowe Capital Group, empowering your financial journey.
I appreciate the thoughtfulness that goes into your work. You are also part of the inaugural What Do You Want to Be When You Grow Up? Art contest reception. That sounds so fun. Can you tell us about that?
So I always tell people that I have fun at work. We have fun. My team, our division, I really have the opportunity to work with some really great individuals here in the treasurer's office and people who are passionate about the work. The work that we do, I always say it's heart work. So it's work that we do from our heart. And so the art contest actually last year, right after the pandemic, when we all started coming back into the office, the treasurer and we were walking through the halls one day, and he's like, these walls are just so bare. We should have some artwork or something. And so I went back to my office and I'm like, maybe we can have an art contest with kids, because I would love to walk the halls of the treasurer's office and see artwork from children to motivate us and tell us why we do what we do, right? And so that next week I met with my team and I'm like, we're gonna have an art contest. And I know a lot of times when I'm telling them stuff, they look at me like I'm crazy, because they're probably like, okay, now she wants to have an art contest. What does this have to do with what we do? And so I'm like, well, here we're trying to talk about post-secondary education, but we really want students to know that the sky's the limit. Whatever they want to be when they grow up, they can be it. And so we created the What Do You Want to Be When You Grow Up art contest. And I think my team thought nobody was going to apply. Well, we ended up with, our first year was last year, we ended up with 750 entries from across the state of Nevada. And so the judges that I had volunteer were kind of like overwhelmed, because I'm like, yeah, we're going to have a few pieces of art, and it ends up being 750. So, but the awesome part about the art contest was we were able to award our top. So we had a first, second, and third place in each category. So we were able to award 15 students in the state with 529 plans. So they either got $250, $500, or $1,000 into a 529 account so that they could start saving for college. And so, I met some really awesome families, and they were really excited about the opportunity to basically let their students express themselves through art and they are able to start saving. So right now we are gearing up for our second year, and we're anticipating that we're going to get about 1,500 entries. Now that the word is out, we already have people calling and asking. And so we're just really excited because that's the type of thing that we do here. It doesn't all have to be about scholarships and grants and financial aid, but it's basically to show people like we're starting a conversation. At the art reception, we had families in a room that we never would have had access to before. And we're like, thank you for coming. Congratulations to your students. Now let's talk about how to make sure that your student gets to be an astronaut or a chef one day. And so we were able to start the conversation. So that's kind of what we do here. We think of ways outside of the normal traditional way to talk to families about going to college and how to pay for it. So that was basically the art contest.
Can we get pictures of first, second, and third place? I want to see this so bad. Can we link this to the show? Can we?
Well, all of our winners from last year. So we had like a huge reception at the library, and their artwork was displayed for 2 months. All of their artwork is on our website, so you can see the winners from last year. Some of them are amazing. I mean, all of them are amazing. And then the top 15 are actually hanging in our office in frames. And so that we ended up with artwork so that our walls aren't as bare. And we had some really great times with the students.
You were making the state treasurer's office so fun. First of all, I had zero clue that I should be popping in to get in, get $50 and see some great art. I'm so excited by this. Kudos to you.
Awesome art.
That's amazing. Now, so this is the Nevada state. What we've got listeners all over. What should people be searching for if they're not in Nevada? And this is news to them. I'm guessing somebody's sitting here going, "Oh my gosh, I had no clue. I had no clue these things existed. Where do I go? What do I do?"
So I always tell people like every treasurer's office is different. So like you, before coming to the treasurer's office, I had no idea what types of things the treasurer's office does. So first of all, start with your state treasurer's office, because no matter where you are, you have a state treasurer. And I'm pretty sure that they're doing some pretty great things wherever you are. A lot of the states across the country, they're basically meeting the needs of their community. So some of the other things that we have in the treasurer's office, we have unclaimed property.
Let's talk about that. What is that? How do I get my unclaimed property?
So unclaimed property is basically, it can be anything that you are missing over the years. So let's say that you had a bank account, or let's say that you were in an apartment and you left and they owe you money. And basically this is money that the state is holding for you until you come and claim it. So visit our website. You can go to the nevadatreasurer.gov and claim your unclaimed property. And you could have anywhere from like a couple of pennies to a couple of $1,000. So check it out.
I'm looking right now. Everyone is Googling right now.
No lie.
Unclaimed property?
I just deposited. I'm not kidding. Last night, I deposited when I got home in my mailbox. I had 2 checks because I was on your bio last week and I saw the link for unclaimed property and I was like, I've heard about this. I clicked. I had two. I got $36 in the mail. $36. I just got these checks and they arrived last night and I put those babies right in my account. $36. That's amazing. I have no idea how long they've been sitting there.
Yes, unclaimed property. All the states have them. So check out your Nevada treasurer or your state's treasurer's website so that you can get your unclaimed property.
Everyone in our studio is actively searching. Please, our viewers on TikTok, stitch us how much you got back. Mine is $36, $36.95. So stitch us how much money you had in unclaimed property. I want like a total of how much money we just gave back to people. Funny that you brought that up. Thank you for sharing that. I truly had no clue what a resource, and I can't believe at this point in my life I had no clue what a resource the state treasurer's office was, and all of the truly good work that you guys are doing for our state and beyond. The last kind of piece I want to talk about is your team, because you guys, it's amazing. And I'm sure you're right. I'm sure the other states have amazing teams as well, but ours is amazing. top notch, most amazing. Come at us any other state because we've got you beat. Your team is amazing. Let's talk a little bit more about your team.
So on my team, first off, the team, we are a very small team. So all of the things that we do, people are always amazed by the fact that we only have 8 people. So last week, for example, we did a back to school fair last Friday. And they were like, okay, Tia, well, how many folks do you think are going to come? And so we were like, let's just order about 600 backpacks. And then whatever we have left, we can donate to like our local Boys and Girls Club. Well, the back to school fair was scheduled from 4 to 7. By 5:15, you ladies, we had given out all 600 backpacks. We had about 20 partners from the community that came out, like the city of Las Vegas, the Clark County School District, lots of partners that had information for families. We were giving out immunizations. We were giving out toothbrushes and toothpaste from the UNLV Dental School. And really, we had ice cream for the students. We had pizza. So they came with their families. And it was just a really great community event. And those things would not be possible without a strong team. So although I am their leader, I think each of them comes with just the most unique, like I said, passion for post-secondary education and K-12 education. So we have a college navigator that basically helps families. They will sit down with you one-on-one. We have a student loan ombudsman that will talk to you about student loans. Responsible borrowing, because a lot of times parents and students take out these loans and then they're like, well, how do I pay them back? When do I pay them back? So I say, call us before you take them out so we can help you along that process. But if you've already taken them out, it's okay. You can still call us. We would love to help you. We have the ladies that work with the prepaid tuition. We have a awesome marketing coordinator that helped us spread the word about these things. And then we have a program manager for our college kickstart and our GGMS program, our Governor Gwynn Millennium Scholarship. So all of those make up our very small but mighty team that's out here doing the work. And really, we're just finding ways to not only help families plan, save, and pay, but we also have a huge financial literacy initiative where we're just trying to help with financial literacy for all Nevadans. And so probably the thing I think that your listeners would be most interested in is in March, we're going to have a women's money conference where we're going to have just an opportunity for ladies to come and to learn about grants and financial planning and college savings and entrepreneurship, all the things finance. We'll be in person and we're working out the details. We're in the very beginning stages, but like you've pointed out many times today, women, we stay up at night thinking about these type of things. And so we want to make sure that we're providing the ladies, the women in Nevada, with the resources that they need to make sure that not only is their family successful, but that they feel like they're successful. And we always talk about you can't do better if you don't know better. So just basically providing them with the resources and the tools that they need to make savvy financial decisions.
I just want to acknowledge you are such an example of living authentically based on what you've spoken about, investing in your community, investing in this state that's given so much to you. You are infusing these topics. Government can be quite dry. Finance, lending, borrowing, student loans, it can be quite dry. You are infusing so much fun and creativity and life into these, community aspects that are very important, but sometimes not top of mind because they're just not that exciting, but they're so important. So just huge validation to all of that.
Or they're top of mind because they're a dark subject for you. And you are almost like peeling back the curtain and shedding some light so people can address these things that are, they don't want to look at it. And I'm blown away because you are this small but mighty team. You guys are actually transforming lives. You're making it possible for first generation people, second, any generation really, but I'm guessing it's really great for those first generation students going on to post-secondary education that maybe didn't think it was a possibility. for them, right?
Right.
You are
Everything's possible.
everything's possible, and you're transforming the lives of people who need financial literacy, which all of us do. And I think in some ways, especially women, sometimes feel like they're not worthy of financial literacy. And so that is huge. I'm blown away. I truly, listeners, I had no idea that this conversation was going to be this profound, because I was just so excited to talk about prepaid tuition and 529. And I'm blown away by the work that you're doing and what our state treasurer's office is giving back to our community, what you are leading and transforming. I mean, Jackie said it so much better. I'm just so proud. I'm proud to be a Nevadan right now. So thank you. And I'm sure other people, you guys go check out your state treasurer, please.
Is there anywhere that you would invite listeners to find more information specifically for your work, your group, your team?
Absolutely. So I always tell folks to visit us at our website. We have a very special website for all the things we talked about today, and it's Navigate. That's nvigate.gov. And it will basically show you all of the tools and resources to help families plan, save, and pay for post-secondary education. We have a scholarship database on there so that you can go on if your student's a junior or senior and you're ready to go. We have information about your FAFSA on there, and we have all of our contact information. And so don't search too long. If there's something that you're looking for, please just email or give us a call. Like I said, we'd love to sit down with families one-on-one. And never feel overwhelmed, because that's what we're here to do. We absolutely believe in the things that we're doing each and every day, and we want to make sure that we spread the word. So yes, we are here for families in Nevada, but if you're listening and you're not in Nevada, you can still give us a call or send us an email, because we may not be able to provide you with the information, but we can point you in the right direction so that you can get that information in your state. We just really want families to know that it's possible. It doesn't matter how many kids you have. A lot of times people think, oh, this is great information if you only have one or two, but I have 4 or 5. It's okay. It doesn't matter how many you have. It doesn't matter how old they are. It's never too early or it's never too late to make sure that your students are in a position to be successful with their post-secondary journey.
I know one of the questions we're going to get is, what if the child, we can't control our children necessarily. What if they decide not to go on to post-secondary education?
That is okay. You can it's basically a savings account. So we've had families where their child decided not to go. They're an artist. They've decided to travel to New York and be in a production instead. That's okay. Most of the savings accounts have it where you can transfer it to another child. So if they have a younger sibling or a first cousin, you can transfer it to a younger sibling or a first cousin. If there's no other younger siblings or cousins, then you can actually get your money back. It's a savings account. So you now have this money that you can take a vacation or a cruise with your friends and family. And so it's definitely not, the state's not going to hold on to your money. You may be charged a small fee for taking out the money, but it's nowhere compared to the money that you've already saved.
This is amazing. Thank you for the insights and the resources. Did you have another question?
I'm still just in awe of all of this. I'm so excited.
Thank you so much for this conversation. Listeners, we are also happy to connect you with Dr. Tia in the state of Nevada. You can also find us on TikTok, Women TF Podcast. You can visit our website, rowcapitalgroup.com. Specifically, go to show notes and check on the blog. You'll have all the information there. Or finally, you can email us with questions, media@rowcapitalgroup.com. Thank you for listening. And again, thank you so much for this conversation.
Thank you guys for having me. I've had a great time chatting.
Us too. This, again, it takes a topic that I normally would find this dry. It's been very fun. Just in all honesty.
This has been great.
We talked about kid art.
I'm blown away.
This overview is for informational purposes only. We might include some projections, and those should not be relied upon for the purpose of investing. Past performance is not indicative of future results, and any investments we mention are meant for accredited investors only. And any offer can only be considered upon review of a prospectus and relevant offering documentation. So please keep this in mind as we move through this overview, and remember that these are our opinions only.